Hello, I'm PhantomDogman and welcome to 57 Tech Nerd. So, it is recommended to play this with merge scope. Not sure about what it is, but there is standard mode. So then let's try instead that mode. Okay, I have already 8 pounds and even I will still eat some audio if I wouldn't use 8 pounds. So to which the north? I didn't say that. The north because it's just needs. Okay, yeah. Oh wait, I could choose any direction. Okay, any chapter 1.
Rock! Sasha yelled from the front of the small boat. From the tiller, Caleb squinted against the stinging rain as he tried to decipher the abstract shapes floating past them in the darkness. A sudden flash of lightning revealed a huge stone column jutting out of the rough sea directly ahead.
Whoa, I didn't expect this voice acting. Okay, good stuff to know. And finally came that a recording doesn't mess up with voice acting. Anyway, so I didn't eat what he was saying, so stop spawn. I think I'll try stopping support. No, downwards.
Caleb cut the engine and the boat lurched to a stop as a huge wave crashed against the column, spraying them with foam. Caleb reached for the throttle, but Sasha stopped him. "Listen," she said. It took a moment for Caleb to realize what she was hearing, the distinct sound of waves crashing against rocks. It was coming from all around them.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe I didn't need to stop, and I was wondering, okay, there isn't voice acting, but I noticed, okay, there is not voice acting, but it text there, so get okay. Oh, okay, we crashed, get the appearance, get out there. I think get the bearing. Yeah, but they have understood that
situation. Alaska's inside passage was a labyrinth of islands, and he honestly had no idea where they were. A quick decision could make the situation even worse. His efforts were interrupted by a soft thud as the boat struck a boulder beneath the water.
Of course, this is a case.
Screamed in protest as the propeller lodged against it.
That's ancient or back up. Should I back up? I think I'll. I made it like this.
Caleb reversed the throttle and was met with the deafening sound of metal tearing through fiber.
Okay.
The engine emitted a puff of black smoke.
There's a stupid decision.
Pushing them back into eerie silence. The boat bobbed awkwardly as the back remained hung up on the rocks. Caleb tried to find out what they were caught on, but couldn't see anything in the swirling black water.
Okay, just continue. I got this or this.
A large swell washed under them, lifting the boat as it passed. It wasn't enough to dislodge them, but the boat came down hard with a hollow crunch that surely cracked the fiberglass hull. Another flash of lightning revealed an approaching wave at least twice as large and cresting just off.
Should I wish or push wait out? What it means push off? What it means push off? Anyways, wait a minute. I'm wondering if I close this game, then it will be saving progress. Well, I assume like that, so I think letting it out.
They braced themselves as the wave hit. Sasha fared as well as could be expected in the front of the boat, but Caleb took the brunt of it. The sheer force of the wave slammed him against the wall before washing him over the railing.
Oh, wow. That's bad stuff, isn't it?
Any pain that Caleb felt paled in comparison to the surface
scale up. Right.
By Alaskan standards, 57 degrees was actually quite warm, but still enough to send an unaccustomed body into shock. Caleb's head rang as he came up, gasping for air. He had just enough mental faculty left to see that the wave had carried him 20 yards from the boat, which was now bobbing freely but half submerged. The rocky shore was at least 5 times further, but it was in the direction of the current.
I think for short pickups. Wait, it's 5. Okay, please 5 times 40, but it's direction also current, then if it's direction to current, then I think I'll swim for sure because current make it easily.
But as he got close, he could tell that the waves crashing against the rocks were much larger and more violent. He felt himself drop down and touched bottom. But the bigger the trough, the bigger the swell.
But then I
He turned just in time to see the wave come down on top of him, slamming him underwater, and everything went black.
Well, I guess Caleb actually did, or not.
Sasha managed to regain her balance on the slippery deck, which was now half submerged as the boat sank. She tied off a line and threw it in Caleb's direction, but it wasn't nearly long enough, and Sasha could see that Caleb wasn't moving.
They both urge their Caleb shots. I guess Sasha will be risking her life.
Sasha dove into the water. It was just as cold, but the adrenaline and the conscious decision to jump in helped soften the effects that Caleb had experienced. As the waves helped carry her towards him, she felt a sinking feeling in her gut as she saw that Caleb was indeed unconscious. She grabbed him by the life jacket and held on for dear life as a wave came down on top.
Okay, now it only just swim for sure.
Tumbled over the seabed, but somehow managed to keep hold of Caleb. When she came up, it was shallow enough to stand, and she realized that they were on a sandbar, 50 yards from the rocky shoreline. There was no way to get there through the gauntlet of waves, and even if she could, the rocks offered no protection from the onslaught of the surf. She dragged Caleb to the closest sea stack, and with her last ounce of strength, hoisted him up to a ledge on the leeward side of the rock.
Wow, then both to sky date. Not at the moment.
Caleb's skin was cold, but she could feel a pulse and shallow breathing. Sasha pulled her jacket over them both and tried to find a comfortable spot on the sharp rocks. Exhaustion took hold, and she drifted into a restless sleep.
I did go to cover both then, but I checked it. But then I can check it is in fat, and that will still help even fat check it. Maybe, but not sure about that. It did let it. Oh, now it's chapter 2. Already chapter 2. Okay, then yeah. I don't see it so that.
Eyes opened reluctantly. The storm had passed, and it was just bright enough to see her surroundings in the early morning mist. Probably 3 a.m., she guessed. In August, the Alaskan sun had the annoying habit of setting so late and rising so early that there were only a couple of hours of true darkness. She and Caleb had been on the family vacation long enough that the novelty had worn off. "Caleb," she said aloud, as the previous night's events came flooding back to her.
Okay, still doesn't. Well, okay, if it's just one day out, then of course there will be memories that get stuff, unless you get amnesia, but that's that. Come on, go.
The sudden noise was enough to rouse Caleb, who woke with a start.
Oh no, about what?
Caleb groaned as he settled back against the rock. "Can you make it to shore?" asked Sasha, indicating a narrow strip of sand where the remains of their boat had washed up. Caleb nodded and forced himself off the ledge.
I guess for seems so short then. I guess that's all you can get forward, but then again, if it's Alexa, then there can be any food in a cold place. Maybe fish, but how you would fish them? That's a problem, isn't it?
The water was even colder this time, and they were both shivering uncontrollably.
What about it?
Sasha trudged over to the boat and pulled their phones out of a waterproof compartment. Both of them still worked, but couldn't find a signal. Caleb's dad, Sasha's uncle, would be out looking for them, but that could take days with so many islands to search.
When I tried about once and tried to say are waterproof or not, then it already answered that question about that those bones are in waterproof compartment anyway, so should I go for search outboard affair expand board actually. Well, firstly, if you are stranded on the island, then you should firstly find water at least. But then again, if it's Alexa and this is sweet water, this isn't salty water, then This water isn't an Angus boat fight.
Sasha gathered some fallen branches from the tree line. They were soaking wet, but some gasoline from the boat helped get them burning. The smoke was thick, which Sasha hoped might attract anyone out looking for them. After 30 minutes by the fire, Sasha was warm and dry, but Caleb's skin was pale and he still shivered uncontrollably. Hypothermia, observed Sasha. We need to get you moving.
Okay, now it's still search. Well, I put inspect port. Well, inspect port, maybe there is something.
Landed on its side, revealing that the propeller had been chewed to bits on the rock. But the real problem was the hull. It had several cracks in the fiberglass where the boat had hit the rocks. It wasn't going anywhere without a lot of work.
Okay, now only option is to search help.
The beach was flanked by steep cliffs, so they made their way up to the tree line, which rose more gradually in each direction.
Okay, so there might be something, no? Or no?
What's that? Asked Caleb, pointing at one of the pines. Halfway up the trunk, a small security camera was attached to what looked like a tiny satellite dish. Even though it was a sign of civilization, something about the sudden feeling of being watched gave Sasha the creeps.
We might be at some secret place which might do something to how it was called, to the rest purchase, no?
Sasha waved her arms. Hello? She shouted. We need help! The camera gave no indication it was even working. There's no speaker, Caleb told her. Even if someone is watching, they can't respond. That doesn't mean they can't hear us, Sasha countered. Caleb grabbed a stick and etched the word help into the dirt in front of the camera.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. But then I can this case might not be a victim that is looking track camera. Shot exploit east.
They followed the tree line as it rose to the top of a steep cliff. From higher up, they could see the shoreline arc around the base of a small mountain just tall enough to be covered with a dusting of snow. Other than a few distant islands and a coastline at least 20 miles away, it was ocean as far as the eye could see.
Okay, should I say where we are, or I don't recognize? Yeah, this bottom one.
I don't recognize anything, Sasha noted. Me either, Caleb shrugged, not wanting to admit that he had been lost even before the storm hit. The two cousins had taken the boat out the previous afternoon in an attempt to stave off the boredom of the family trip. Neither of them had realized how disorienting the chain of islands could be, and the squall had come out of nowhere. The storm must have pushed us to one of the outer islands, Caleb offered, trying to convince himself of his own innocence.
Okay. Actually, why not if we are both the checkpoints?
Sasha pulled out her phone. Even without a signal, the GPS worked. But the map required a connection to download details. The blue dot just showed that they were in the middle of the ocean off the southeast coast of Alaska. Not even the large populated islands appeared on the default map.
So even with that internet connection or database, you still can find out average, not average, but a close enough place to where you are. I wonder about that. But then again, how you would see map if the map can be downloaded. Anyways, keep explore inland, should explore inland? No, and just explore it outside of Iceland.
A good ways further before it abruptly fell off into a...
There's that electronic stuff.
Looked treacherous, but a metallic glint caught Sasha's eye. She pushed aside some underbrush to reveal a large outdoor electrical box.
I meant that.
Caleb picked up a rock and tested its weight in his hand. Are you sure that's a good idea? Sasha asked.
No, I don't think that's... But then again, if I allowed to say it's not, then how we will get it. No, I don't think.
Caleb put the rock down. He had no idea whose equipment this was, but he wanted to be on their good side when he...
Okay. I guess explore back to beach. Or should I do?
By the time they got back to the beach, Caleb was stumbling and the fire had almost died out. Sasha tossed a few more branches on to get it going again. She had hoped that the smoke would attract help.
But that doesn't work like that.
It would be the last place a search party would look. In the state Caleb was in, they couldn't wait that long.
Now, again exploring. Again going to explore this land.
They followed the coast in the other direction for about a quarter mile when Caleb's phone dinged. One new network found. Station 57 had no password and no internet access, but it was close enough for them to pick up the Wi-Fi signal. Go that way and call out the signal strength, Caleb told her. We can triangulate the position.
Say, I bet that they took it there.
No way, Sasha said. This place gave Sasha the creeps, and she had seen too many horror films to let Caleb out of her sight. The idea that someone else was out here only made it worse.
Okay, yep. No full signal. Wait, don't tell me it's Suru then.
After a half hour stumbling through the woods in random directions, they found the source of the Wi-Fi signal. A small cluster of buildings in the center of a clearing.
Okay, from where those buildings are, I could search for buildings.
Caleb called out as they searched the buildings. There were no signs of life, but what sounded like a distant voice was just audible over the sound of the wind. As they approached the largest building, they could finally make out what the voice was saying. Sasha, Caleb. They both froze in their tracks. Who's there? Sasha shouted. My name is Wilson, the voice called back, but no one appeared. There was something odd about his voice, too measured and formal. Not to mention the fact that he knew their names. I'm inside, Wilson said.
Okay, Schulte go inside. I now did it. Schulte? Okay, maybe.
Sasha followed reluctantly as Caleb...
Maybe I didn't want to do this. Maybe I didn't need to do this. Maybe I didn't need to do this, but what is done is done. And there's nobody. Oh, it's chapter 3. Yeah, it's already chapter 3, then I will be leaving this episode here. However, I'll check if I can continue after. I don't... don't kidding me. Oh, okay. I can continue. Okay. Okay. Thank goodness I tried. Wait, don't tell me I can't continue it again. Anyways, yeah. Like it before was saying, I will be leaving this episode here. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, you know what to do. Wow. Okay, of course I should more or less at least glance at the description what it is game about, but yeah, I didn't do that. And now, from something it doesn't feel over, but when it mentions about horror, then don't tell me it's horror. And there is voice acting. Oh, good job. Which is just narration, but that's that. Which, of course. Now I can read text what game is say typing for me to read, but that's that. Now with that then again, well, if there is a lot of voice acting, then at some points I probably will be interrupting to voice acting, because otherwise there isn't a lot of commentary from me. But then again, if I talk too much over voice acting, then I might miss some details. And again, that is subtitles couldn't go to which I need to open point. But then again, at some point it might be taken full off screen, maybe, but not sure about that. Anyways, see you.